Welcome to Nashville, Tennessee for AU 2025. I'm 𝗺𝗃𝘂𝘁 and I am joined today by James Harbin from JTM Construction. I'm going to have James do a quick intro so you guys can get to learn a little bit about JTM, James, and what they do and sort of how they fit into the GC industry overall. So James, would you mind telling me a little bit about how long you've been at JTM, how you found yourself there, and why you think JTM is unique as far as GCs go in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So James Harbin, Director of Construction Technology for JTM. I joined JTM almost 9 years ago. I was a subcontractor for JTM. I worked for a licensed survey firm, and they wanted to start a survey department in-house. So they brought me over, and shortly after that, we added a BIM VDC team, and we've just continued to grow since then. They've decided to take a very tech-forward approach to things and really want to invest in innovating and really trying to be at the forefront of what's happening in our market. So,
very cool. So obviously we're at a tech-heavy conference. We're a tech-heavy company at NavVis. Could you talk a little bit about what the process was like for you guys evaluating hardware? And I know you guys have you've used a bunch of different hardware from different providers. If you could talk a little bit about why you have, specified, maybe we'll use Trimble for this, Leica for that, or NavVis VLX for everything else.
Yeah, so we have a good toolbox full of tools for different uses. Really, wasn't dipping our toes in. It's how does it solve problems on the project end? If it makes my life better, it's a harder sell. But if it makes our project delivery better, then it's a very easy sell to our leadership and to our clients that we can provide something better by using this technology or innovating in this way. So if you're addressing problems in the sense of looking for solutions rather than looking for problems you'll have to find solutions to later.
Yeah.
So we address our technologies that way, trying to find a tool that works well for them.
Not running around with the hammer, trying to make everything into the nail. That makes perfect sense. Something we were talking about earlier that I think is very interesting about JTM, I've heard about it from some organizations, but I think most others are not quite up to speed on the renting internally process. Could you give us a quick rundown on why you guys do that and how you're actually able to profit off of your equipment?
Yeah, absolutely. So with any of our equipment, it's a tool, like I said before, in a toolbox. And so just like you'd rent a drill from your yard or your supplier, we rent our VLX. Any of our equipment gets rented, and so we apply a unit number to it, and it gets rented out to our projects. And it's very easy to track our return on investment when we start to become profitable with it, just off of renting it. Because some of the pushback we've gotten in the past is how do you quantify a mistake that never happened? We scanned a space and they completely redesigned this. It was a relatively small space, but they redesigned it for this honeycomb ceiling. Some really cool features that were in there that needed to be right. And so it's difficult to quantify what that would have cost if it wasn't caught, if it was halfway installed and they had to tear stuff down. And so one thing that is absolutely measurable is we can track and we can say, okay, we know we will have this paid off in a year. And if you were to say, okay, it's a technology, so it's, let's say, a 2-year life cycle like you would with a laptop or something. We know that second year is all generating revenue. It's profit off that tool. And so it's an easy way to justify purchasing something and then continuing to use it, service it, or phase it out if it's not working. Once we've gotten it paid for, if it was a struggle to get it paid for, adoption wasn't good, it's easy to say, okay, let's move on to the next tool, the next idea, and try that. So.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. And while we're talking about the right tool for the job, would you mind talking a little bit about how you settled on bringing the VLX into your suite of tools and where you use it? You mentioned doing some pretty interesting stuff as far as even going as far as even collecting data to keep in reserve, not necessarily processing it as soon as it's collected.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that one, it seems like in the past it was always someone needed something and it was the one or two things we didn't capture on a job site. And so at this point now our model is to just capture everything. We scan everything. We might not process it. We might not pay for the processing, might not use our processing credits, but we captured it, we label it, we archive it, and then if someone needs it, it's a relatively quick turnaround to process it, get them the information, and save them time and money. As far as, what was your, I apologize.
The other part of that was how is the VLX chosen to be part of the toolbox? Because I could see the speed of capture being an assist when you're thinking about sort of we're just going to cover ourselves, capture that as extra.
Absolutely. So we actually, the reason we were looking at SLAM units instead of terrestrial units was we took over a project from another general contractor that coordination wasn't done on. So in taking that project over, we wanted to scan everything that had been put in place. We wanted to understand it. We wanted to be able to coordinate against it or adjust modeling, update models. And so we tried a different provider's solution, and we're very disenchanted with it. And we ended up linking up with NavVis at a conference and had our rep Mike come out. He demoed it on site. It was a 14,000 square foot footprint for each floor in 2 48-story buildings. So to do it with our terrestrial scanner would have been probably a floor a day, maybe 2 floors a day, because they're apartments, very small spaces, a lot of setups, very heavy data, more data than we need to get the overlap needed to get through the different corridors and doorways and things like that. And so with the VLX, we were able to get each floor scanned in 32 minutes, I think it was, with photos. And so it was very easy to adopt it. The use of it, very intuitive. And then on the back side of it, our clients and team members really enjoy living in the photos. The photos are very comfortable for them. Everyone's used to looking at pictures, but the pictures carry measurable data behind it. So it provided value on that front as well.
That's awesome. It's just really cool to hear that you're able to essentially really right-size tools for jobs and hopefully save yourself some time, become more efficient, unlock some new functionality as well. James, we really appreciate your time today. This has been awesome. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and always a pleasure reminiscing back to that project. That was one of the first ones that we got to work together on, and I remember us just sort of troubleshooting, figuring out how can we get this done, and always a pleasure to hear about success stories as well. So,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.